Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Claire, your host and also your digital marketing specialist here at Chromia. I hope you're having all an amazing day and staying warm as we're stepping into autumn. But if you're in the Far East, just like our guests today, you're likely enjoying the start of a beautiful, fresh spring season. Wherever you are in the world, we are thrilled to have you with us. And I am also joined by Guillermo, our head of marketing. Hi, Guillermo. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How you doing, Claire?
Good, doing well, doing well. Okay, so I'd like to introduce everyone to our guest from Chasm. We are also joined by Casey and also Johnson. Chasm is transforming the AI landscape by integrating it with blockchain tech and decentralization. They're building a robust ecosystem that enables and empowers innovators to create, deploy, and monetize AI agents efficiently and securely. With a focus on transparency, accountability, and inclusivity, Chasm is opening up the AI landscape and reshaping what's possible in this space. Today, we'll be discussing our partnership together with Chasm and also their newest protocol. But first, let's welcome in Casey and Johnson. How are you both doing?
Good. Great, actually.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, you're doing great.
Amazing. Awesome. Okay, so let's get started. I'm so grateful to have you both here with us. For those of you who are less familiar with Chasm Network in the audience, would you be able to share a bit about what makes the AI protocol or the approach to AI unique?
Yeah, I think let me take this question, right? So actually Chasm, we has always been thinking about like how do we make building like AI applications better and easier, like since day one of building this company, which is around 2 years ago, right? So that is before we have any blockchain or even like on-chain elements in like our whole platform. We have just been building different type of like AI applications, and we face a lot of troubles along the way to build like a very really good AI powered applications. So if you look through our journey, we have this built a platform called Weave, which allow people to actually build AI workflow very easily. Some people call it AI agents today as well. So you're able to build all these different agents very easily and just export the API and plug it into maybe the application you're using, maybe just like directly using it yourself, right? So that is the first thing that we have built. And coming into the future as well, that has always been the same philosophy of us continue building in it. So our approach of basically using blockchain today and stuff like that on Chasm side of things is that how do we able to build a system that allow people to easily navigate through this tremendous amount of like AI models available out there, because each of these AI models, they are good in different field and different things as well, right? Want to give people the best experiences of building on like all these different AI models, then we need a transparent system. We need a system that able to automatically route your request or your prompt directly to the best model possible. So that is our approach of doing that. It's always about efficiency. It's always about like how do we make it more cost efficient, performance efficient, and also still retain the quality. So yeah, that is technically what Chasm has been building and building towards to. We would basically say that what we have today, definitely that you see right now, a lot of it is more that focused and stuff like this. But I think going forward as well, like working with Chromia, working with a lot of different teams as well, you'll be able to, as like maybe a consumer, interact with a lot of different applications that is built on top of Chasm and all those different partners that we have.
Right. I mean, it is quite a bold move, isn't it? Going into a decentralized version of AI. There are so many people that are trying to get into AI, building new different projects and things like that. But being able to turn it into a decentralized network is such a bold move. So how does the combination of blockchain and AI help tackle the current market issues with AI, for instance, like transparency?
I think transparency has always been a very big question, right? Like even for open source model like Llama 3, it is a open source model, but it's not a open weight model. What it means is basically that you don't actually able to see what data has been basically used to train this model, right? This has been kind of the norm for across all the different AI models that are being trained. And the main reason for that, well, there's a lot of reasons for that, but the main reason for that is because data is kind of like the most important part other than compute to train an AI model. So a lot of this like centralized company and also like this big tech company, they would rather like just keep all this information undisclosed. So they have the advantage, all the modes across different across like their competitors. But that is not really good for the long run because a lot of it has been using all the social media platform and all these different applications ourselves. We have been feeding the training data to all these different models, and we not sure of like we didn't actually give consent on certain data that goes into training this model as well, right? So that is why having a blockchain element of it and doing like decentralized training, like some of the amazing projects out there that has been doing, or even like for Chasm as well, like basically having the ability to see the inferences directly on blockchain transparently and even challenge and improve on like basically giving feedback to improve on the model itself. Those things are very important for like basically people going into the future. That also relates to not just transparency, because transparency also brings the fact that you know your personal contribution to all these different AI models or different like AI agents coming in. So having able to see that as well allows us to design interesting mechanics, for example, like incentivization, right? For example, if you contribute a lot of data to train this model to make it really well just by using the application that built on top of this model, you should actually be well basically incentivized for your work of doing that. So I think that is like what blockchain brings to AI in general. It's not only just on the tech side of things or philosophical side of things, but also a better way for us to pave the future of training all these AI models or making the agents better in a fair way, basically the fairest way possible.
Well, sign me up, because the amount of information that I have given ChatGPT about my own personal life, just even asking for advice, or gosh, like I was talking to literally ChatGPT for about an hour, converting recipes and while I'm cooking, and I love it. I absolutely love it. But there is that element that what if I'm sharing too much information, and where does it go? There is not necessarily a transparency element within that, or at least if there is, I'm not aware of it, which isn't transparent. So it's yeah, I mean, I definitely love the fact that we're leading with transparency when it comes to Chasm. So definitely sign me up. I'm definitely going to be interested in the incentives that come with being able to contribute to a platform, right? So I guess with that being the transparency being such a challenge with so many AI platforms, how does decentralization, especially with Chasm's and Chromia's technology together, help in making AI more accountable and verifiable?
Yeah, I think on this, I think of it like to achieve decentralized. Sorry, a little bit of echo. Sorry, am I having an echo? Oh, okay, sorry.
No,
Yeah,
all good.
yeah, all good. Okay, sorry. Regarding on this, I was thinking more towards that is more like a step-by-step processes. Because you cannot achieve decentralization on day one. This is what our ethos is. We start by a 5-step process. I cover it in my blog post about how Chromia and Chasm's integration works. You can check out on my blog. First, I think the first step is we load balance all the scouts, all the inference that we receive from everyone that using our platform. We kind of like load balance it through all the scouts. We have 20,000 scouts running during our testnet season 0, and in season 1 coming up mainnet will be around 3,000. Was it 3,000? Can you see? 3,000 scouts coming in. Then we open source the code. That was the step 2. And then the third step is open data through Chromia, because we need this transparency and verifiable. We don't want anyone to fake their inference. They say they're running a certain model, but they are not running the model. And then the next step is to decentralize the whole orchestrator, which is more like a like a validator. And then lastly, we decentralize our network. So we are right now at step 3 out of step 5. So that is like how we process and make Chasm overall more accountable and verifiable. Everything is on Chromia, and anyone can just audit through Chromia using query and make sure that all these things are being done correctly and always can be reproduced. Yeah.
Okay, I guess we've touched on it a little bit, but maybe we can go in a little bit more. So it's mentioned that Chasm aims to prevent bias and manipulation and centralized control AI systems. So I can see that we're definitely going through the processes there. But what mechanisms are in place to ensure that this level of scrutiny is fair, that the fairness is there?
Okay, so in current state of crypto AI, there's a few ways of doing it. There is BitTensor, most subnet are doing it. Is basically the miner will do the work, and then the validator will check the work, and then there is what we're doing OPML, optimistic machine learning, similar to how optimistic rollup did it. And then we have a ZK version. I'll explain pros and cons of each, and there's good and bad in each of the approach. So the first one is minor validator method, where this is requires a double work. So everyone had to do a double work whenever I did inference. I need to cross check again. So this is not very efficient. So in Chasm, what we did is that we did OPML. Basically, we assume everyone is good actor until it's proven not. This is how optimistic did it. So how and anyone can just recompute whatever inference they suspect someone is doing something bad, and then we have this reputation system. We call it ELO-based ranking using Glico2, which is used in chess algorithm to rank like how good you are a chess player. But we use it to our node systems, our scouts running. This way, we ensure that with a reputation in place, you actually have more stake to lose if you try to cheat the system. This is the implementation that we did for with OPML. And lastly, we have ZK. As we all know, ZK is very, very expensive to run to make it feasible. And it's very, very hard to innovate with ZK because every time when there's a new model coming out in a market, you need some kind of work just to make ZK kind of work. So it requires a lot of work. So OPML is where we can push things forward, that we can release the latest model very quickly, very fast, and we can get to market very fast. I think in this uncertainty of the whole AI market, it's easier for us to push something that is faster to get adoptions. Yeah. So this is like how we go to market in terms of using OPML as a more suitable approach. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, I mean, when it comes to developers, maybe from their perspective, what opportunities does this partnership with Chasm Network open up, especially regarding the creation, deployment, and monetization of AI?
I can cover more towards developer side. I think Casey can cover more towards monetizations because I'm more technical in terms of how I approach things. So I believe when we came across Chromia, they have this predictable and very cost-effective pricing model. Is as competitive as a lot of different, I would say RDS and any AWS RDS kind of services comparison. So it makes it very, very easy for us to predict the price when we deploy, not like EVM, because EVM we need like gas costs and all these things we had to take in consideration, and you get congested all the time and all these things. So I think that's one method that we consider is more economical for us to deploy Chromia as a solutions. Second is that I think we deal with a lot of EVM, like any we deploy on Mantle, Ethereum base. The challenges is that in EVM, the data structure is very, very limited. You can only use like key value pairs. It's very, very limited. When you want to do more complex, when you want to put a key value inside a key value, it gets very, very crazy to query, and you need another third-party services like the graph, Covalent, just to pull the data out, which is not ideal for us for deploying something like that. So that's why we chose Chromia for us. So we just need to write into our database on Chromia, and then anyone can just read and audit it. This way, it helps a lot in creating and deploying the storing of the inference of the data or generated by LM. Yeah. Yeah, I think Casey can take on the monetization of AI.
Yeah, so for monetization is actually pretty simple, right? So if every inferences and stuff like that is transparent, it's very easy for you to kind of like just ask maybe like a users to come in to see like which of this models or which of this agents that's being built on top of Chasm is performing better than another. You are able to like just like OPML that Johnson say, you are able to access each of this individual agent and model and what they have been producing, and that gives you like the confidence of purchasing it. And when you have the confidence of purchasing it as the developers of like building all these agents or like the person who provide all these models, very easily you doesn't actually need to go out to tell people you're doing the best work possible. And the other side of things, like the other side of the player, which is the users, doesn't need to come in to just try it out at the first place without really knowing what it actually entails, right? Because like for Chasm itself, when you connect to a system, your model connect to a system, contribute a scout, it's automatically start generating like basically inferences and stuff like this, because that's how we used to do our health check. That's how we used to rank you accordingly to like the ELO rating system and stuff like this. So that will be a history record of what you have generated, and that is the things that people can come in to view before you decide on using those models yourself. So that will also be applying to people who are building on top of it, which is the basically the agents and stuff like that on Weave. And essentially, like also, as I mentioned about the contribution part of things, just being very transparent here as well. This is something in work, something that we have been thinking about, but we haven't find the best way of doing it. But the goal is eventually that everyone will be able to contribute back to this improvement of agents and model themselves will be also be transparent enough without leaking like personal data and stuff like this. But at the same time, because it's trackable, we're able to find a way to reward those people who contribute. So consuming is part of it, but what if you can consume but still get maybe some of the cash back and stuff like this because you also been contributing to it, right? So that is the challenge that we want to tackle. Yeah, having like a transparent like blockchain for data and stuff like this definitely important in this role to do this.
I mean, it's very cool because it's the way you are explaining it, and the needs that Chasm have in terms of like being able to query information, transparency, on-chain information. I mean, feels like Chromia is the right fit. So yeah, you mentioned already like what those are those things as some of the reasons why you chose Chromia. But could you maybe tell us a little more about the Chromia and Chasm partnership? Like what is the how are you gonna leverage Chromia and Chromia for such a data heavy all data heavy necessities that you have on Chasm?
Yeah, I think the first part of like leveraging Chromia itself has been like covered by Johnson. We talked about like how we've been using Chromia as the database to store all these different inferences for our OPML setup, right? So that has been going on a bit, and a lot of like basically in terms of orchestration system, the challenging system, the OPML part of things would also be fully onto Chromia at this current moment. However, going future as well, the partnership would not only entail on our own system, but it will also apply. Like we'll try to push together into like all the different applications that we work with or people that are building on this. Because I do definitely see the benefit of using Chromia, like a transparent blockchain for data for even application, as well as the reason I mentioned before this, right? You're able to design a new monetization system that not only just allow people to consume, but also reward them based on their contribution to your application and stuff like this. And in fact, Chasm is having a pipeline application basically building on us, and we wanted to have them to able to come to have like this experimental stuff of breakthrough in terms of like how the future of AI application would be together with us and also with Chromia. So that is more to the partnership side of things that we are pushing and also like constantly talking to the team. Pretty grateful, like Chromia team has always been very helpful and like very hands-on when we have any problems, like even like onboarding a new application on top to Chromia. So yeah, that has been the thing that we have been doing quite a lot together with Chromia.
So I do love that you've already experienced so many positive just essence of being a partnership already with the communication. And I'm grateful that that has been noticed already so soon. But what about before you made that decision of collaborating and partnering with Chromia? What made you choose Chromia over other market options such as Arweave and Space and Time?
Yeah, I think for us, we go through a few solutions that read through like IPFS, Arweave is more towards like a general data storage, and we don't need the data to be on it like forever because like Arweave requires you to pay upfront and you just store the data forever. I think Chromia pricing model makes more sense for us that we can just on demand kind of pricing. It also has transparency layer, so it helps us to deploy things much faster. Uh, we tried AO computing, but I don't think it's too early to tell whether it can be used for us yet. And I think space and time, because we don't need a ZK layer yet so far for our application, it's too far-fetched for us. And then we just need like some solutions that can fix our problem. And then we came across with Chromia. And at that point of time, I think the MVP mainnet just launched, and we think that since it's production ready, we should give it a try. So yeah, I think that was the story why we ended up choosing Chromia over other solutions. And we did try even deploy on EVM. It is too tough and expensive to keep such a big tax because we are storing like close to like after we've been running the Scout for almost 1 to 2 months, we have like 10-20 GB of data, which is very tough for us to deploy to any other solutions. Right now.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm grateful that our file storage solutions have been choosing to be a benefit for you guys. And Chromia plays a unique role in this partnership, not just for the decentralized database, but handling the Chasm's interference data as well. What are some of the technical advantages Chromia brings to the table?
I think for us, because we are doing OPML, it requires storing a lot of like inference data in a very quick writing into the database. It requires, because we're handling almost like 10 transaction per second ish to write into a database. So general database works well, but for us is that when the reading is that there is a lot of people reading the database, it could be very, very heavy pooling, like people can just spam the endpoint and all those things. So to prevent that, I think using Chromia kind of offloads a lot of our main problem. Anyone in the world can generate all kinds of query that they want to pull out the data and access it and audit it. I think we hit a lot of bottleneck when we are using centralized services back then. I think this kind of solve what we face, and that's why we gave Chromia a try. I think that was like main point about why we use Chromia over to solve our main problem of OPML storage. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so when it comes to the Data and AI Ecosystem Fund, I just love that we're investing. So Chromia is investing so much money into AI, and obviously when it comes to Chasm as well, you've just shared the heart of AI with us as well. And within this partnership and within the Data and AI Ecosystem Fund, could you share how the fund is supporting Chasm's mission and goals?
I think definitely like having the first part of like partnership itself that I mentioned that Chromia has been really, really helpful throughout the journey of its integrating, constantly able to like talking to us that when we have any trouble, you basically help us to solve it as well. Coming into from that into like actually doing this investment stuff, I think it basically strengthen the relationship between both parties, right? And not only that, I mean financial support and stuff is always very important for every single project out there, no matter the amount and stuff like this. It's also a instill confidence, I would say, in from the market. Like this is not just a partnership that we just talk about and we just shake hands, but this is a partnership that Chrome has really invested into like the mission and vision that we have as Chasm to go forward in space to make like AI more transparent and also make more AI more basically having more AI applications powered by Chasm in the future as well. So yeah, that definitely instill a lot of confidence to like people that is using us, using Chasm as well. That's instill a lot of confidence in the market about Chasm, and people want to find out more about like what is Chasm about, right? And one of the most important thing I think this is in the Web3 side of things is that community definitely matters a lot in like any company, any products building in Web3 space, and having all this partnership and specifically having like an investment or like kind of from a grant is something like that that always makes the community to bond closer. So not only like, right now, we're not only seeing like Chasm community members that we have since back then start to integrate and also to talk to people from the Chromia side, the community from Chromia side as well. We do see a lot of like interesting discussion they have. And that always sparks most ideas to like the team in itself, ourselves to actually read through those ideas and eventually able to implement some of these ideas that we think is interesting into our system or into one of the applications that's building on this. So yeah, that's like the TLDR of like the whole thing about like the investment in partnership, but really grateful for the whole like investment from like the Chromia side, from like this AI and data ecosystem fund.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear, because as you said, I mean, it's not this partnership as goes beyond just the obviously the economic support or the technical support, but I think it is rooted in shared vision on decentralized AI and a real and also rooted in utility on how can Chasm leverage Chromia technology and all its features to really deliver something, and how can Chromia grow and support and be connected and to this new wave of AI protocols and decentralized AI, and try to make it more transparent and more open, as you have explained. I'm curious about one thing though. You've mentioned how we've talked a little bit about users, but I was wondering about developers and what does Chasm OPML database dApp deployed on Chromia mainnet mean for these developers who want to create dApps that rely on trustworthy AI data?
I think if I think about it, it's more towards the angle that anyone can verify and check inference result at any time and challenge it. Yeah, I think this is like one thing that we did. First step for us to build on Chromia. So for developer that wants to create an application that rely on trustworthy AI data, I think this is one way to really make it more transparent. There are multiple ways you can approach it. When it comes to building like decentralized AI, it could be start from very basic that you just showcase what your product is without the transparency layer, and then you open source the code so that anyone can just check the code if they need it. And then you can open source some part of the data, which is what Chromia is what we're doing. And then the next step is what we're offering is a decentralized inference. And then lastly, only you decentralize the whole, even like processing the agent thoughts or whatever. This is more towards like how you build an AI in general. I think AI is very generic, but I'm focusing more towards the hype recently, which is the AI agents. I think this is like one of the method that I'll approach it. Definitely, I think on Chromia itself, you can create all kinds of machine learning model. It is possible. You can do like a simple linear regressions or KNN and all those different algorithms. I think it's possible. But I think like in general, what I'm focusing on is because Chromia in general is just on built on top of Postgres SQL, which is a structured data, and it's very approachable for a lot of Web2 developers because when I explain to them like, what is Chromia, and then it makes sense because you just familiar with this all kind of toolings that you're used to use. So yeah, I guess to create and trustworthy AI data will be easier to build on Chromia compared to any other blockchain so far, and you don't need to learn the lingo, too much of a lingo or another like blockchain. Yeah, I think that will be my approach on explaining like how to build application on Chromia. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to pivot just slightly because I want to pick your brain. I want to ask a question that I'm curious about. So, AI and blockchain are both rapidly evolving fields. They're growing so fast. 1 year in blockchain is like 4 in the regular world. So, how do you envision decentralized AI shaping industries outside of tech? So, for instance, like healthcare, finance, or even like education. So how do you see that that's going to be evolving in the future years?
Yeah, I think the current biggest problem within like healthcare, even like finances as well, is always the data, right? So if you have like a centralized company managing all this data to improve, maybe using like AI and stuff like this, then you always face the problem that, okay, they have access to your private data, they know about your health records, they know about your financial records, that it's most likely a lot of things that people don't want to share. And that is why we also have like standards like SOC 2 or HIPAA in the regulatory world to make sure like some company is basically compliant with this standards, so they are able to do this. And you basically, it's kind of like a trust me badge that they're wearing, and you just trust them that, okay, these people are compliant, so they wouldn't do anything stupid with the data that were given to them. But that's not really ideal, isn't it? So that is why like in the future down the road, we hope that basically blockchain and AI able to rapidly grow the health and also finance industry outside just like purely tech and entertainment right now, that most of the use cases evolving around AI is just this too. But health and finances, I think one of the missing component for me personally, this is just my personal view, is that we'll actually still need some time before we reach that. But that also relates to because of the even for data transparency as well, health data and finances data isn't something that people willingly share or like willingly just put out there and everyone will be able to read. We need a verifiable system that doesn't able to basically for people able to look into what's actually inside the content, right? So that is something like ZK and stuff like this. But I wouldn't bet against like this thing to be like very, very long run. I think me and basically my team, including Johnson as well, we all do believe right now in like integrating ourselves into ZK might be too early, but we never stop believing in the tech and how they basically will advance over time as well. For example, AI, like LLMs and stuff. Nobody actually talked about AI for the past like 10 years, and then suddenly you have LLM coming up and just rapidly grow across the last 2 years, right? Similar to ZK as well, I believe that will happen. And when basically blockchain, AI, and we have ZK tech applicable to like this, it kind of form like a trinity that will help us to propel the healthcare industry and also the finances industry from there. So yeah, I couldn't really put the time in because it's always risky for me to kind of put the time into something that I think that will be coming in. But my personal belief is within the next 5 years, we will see the advancement in CK. And when that actually happens, like we'll basically bring AI and blockchain to the next level. And it's not only applicable just to the tech side of things, but also onto the other industry as well, because we'll unlock a lot of like data that is not supposed or like basically not usable or penetratable right now into the market, and people will be able to basically use it to train the model, improve the model, or maybe build something on top of it, because ZK allow you to do basically verification and stuff like that without looking into the content. Yeah.
Yeah, you're completely right in saying also we can't necessarily put a number on it, but before we know it, so many things evolve. And I do want to touch a little bit on the healthcare system, because I feel like every single person listening to this right now will benefit from AI within the healthcare system. I mean, if governments are able to include it, because even my own family members, if they go from one hospital to another, there's so many lack of communication, even like a patient's history. If we're able to put that on an encrypted chain that allows doctors, if you go on holiday, for instance, to be able to access that information and be able to say, okay, they're allergic to XYZ, or they had this condition when they were 5-year-olds and now they're 95, and let's see if like the diagnoses, the way that things can just be just streamlined. And the communication system in the NHS here in the UK, the national health system in the UK, is screwed. It's not ideal. So I feel like if AI is able to get into the healthcare system and even just globally, people will be able to benefit, maybe even hard to reach areas of communities that are struggling with healthcare. The possibilities within AI are obviously endless, but the fact that we're able to have Chasm, where it is decentralized and then there's transparency, but we're able to trust it, ensuring that people are able to protect their data too. And with paired with Chromia, storing this data is, yeah, I am thoroughly excited. But anyway, let's continue.
Yeah, I wanted to mention Casey and Johnson. I mean, your answers are being cautious when it comes to talking to the future, but I'm going to be pushing you a little bit in that direction. And I wanted to be, but I wanted to ask you more about next milestones, for Chasm. Like what are the next steps? What are the next milestones in your roadmap? And yeah, I'd be also interested in hearing how Chromia is gonna be part of your journey and how it's gonna help you get there.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, so I think one big problem about most, like, I think recently we have a lot of AI agent coins coming up. We see in this space. And everyone's just guessing, is this AI real AI? I think it's like a totally opposite of what we thinking. Like in the past, we always think that is this a real human or is it an AI? We don't want a human. You want a human to enter the system, but not AI. But now it's the other way around. In recent AI agent, everyone's just guessing is it a real AI or not. So I think this brings an important question: is that there's lack of transparency in the AI itself and what model you're using and all those things. It's very, very hard to track. So I feel like what we can build is more like a system that you can track on top of that. Anyone can audit and verify with Chasm. That's one thing that we can do. And then I think in terms of roadmap, Casey can also explain a bit further in terms of like a few products that we built in the past, and what some of the milestone that we're trying to hit. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically like including like on top of like basically we're talking about AI agents and stuff like that, then I gotta bring up to a recent news. I think people know that we took over a project called Kojimika, right? So it's kind of like a meme coin that just happened, just kind of spice up the topic a little bit here. But we basically took over it and stopped building tech, and similar to what Johnson said, like currently it's very hard for you to prove the AI a proof of AI kind of thing that happened behind the scene, whether it's true or not. And that is why we have been exploring, like one of the closer milestones that we have is that we have been exploring how do we able to build this proof of AI system with basically Chromia as well. Definitely that out there into the market, we see like, for example, like there's Go, there's like all this like different project that's doing all this AI agent influencer. I also like Luna from Virtuous as well, very close partner with this. They built like this amazing system with proof of sentience, Go have its own backroom and stuff like this. But for Chasm, basically our approach is that how do we do it, but also at the same time to do the proof on chain. So I think that is something that we have still been exploring. I do know like you guys are trying to push us to talk a little bit more about like a little bit more about the future. But for us, we have always been taking a more practical approach to whatever things that we've been building, and we really been looking into the technical challenges we have right now and how we've been building that. But at the further milestone, basically, other than just like mentioning, Johnson mentioned about the 5-step centralizing, eventually having it orchestrated to be decentralized and also using Chromia as a service as well. We also do include the fact that a lot of these applications, as I mentioned, that using on like basic Weave and stuff like this to have basically part of the system built on Chromia, or even better, directly deployed onto Chromia as a full sort of like decentralized applications. I think one thing that we are lacking right now is AI applications, but the thing that we have not experimented even further is decentralized AI powered applications. And I am actually very excited to see how that works out. So for Chasm side, we have been talking to a lot of these developers that's building on us, trying to push them to use their stack fully to build an AI application that's fully decentralized and just kind of like a social experiment, right? So it's always interesting to see all this experimental stuff coming up and how the market react to it. And I think only by then we're able to push the boundary of the technology to go further. So personally think that a lot of this technology, even AI itself, and even transparency like blockchain, like Chrome itself, is not fully utilized. And that is one thing that we would love to work with Chrome together. And we have been talking to Chrome together to push this and make sure that we're able to get more people to play with all these different experiments.
So we have another question, but I do want to encourage our community to reach out to us on Telegram and Twitter if you've got any questions. We do have a competition at the end as well. So before we do wrap up, please do fire in your questions. And Guillermo, would you like to finish us off with a final question?
Yeah. I was wondering. I was wondering. I mean, we've talked about Chasm, Chromia, the partnership, the how app builders, how AI protocols. But I was wondering about uh, you know for any listener that is interested in exploring. Um, as you said, AI is a very broad concept. But what about decentralized AI? Like, if one, because since more and more feels like we need in the blockchain space, and especially for projects in the AI, in the crypto AI space, if we want to call it like that, we need to educate and push for the concept of decentralized AI. What would you say is the best ways for a user to learn more about that, or a starting point, or so, or whether it's on Chasm or it's on its own? What would you say is the better starting point?
Yeah, I think for this question, first of all, Chasm has like I would say I would first break down Chasm and recommend some of the things that I think people can study, and I think Johnson can take it for his suggestions also, because Johnson reads a lot as well. For Chasm, basically we have like a blog post on Weave itself. So our platform Weave itself, we have blog posts, we talk about chain of thought, and a lot of this articles we releases basically over the last around 16 months, 18 months actually. We have started this blog, and we also have like our Medium. Basically, you can able to read a lot of things we write up about, like blockchain AI, the intersection of it, and pure AI itself. We also wrote about OPML on Johnson's blog, basically. So all this is a very good content for you to have a first deep into like basically the general overview of like decentralized AI. Well, for AI in itself, you're definitely able to try it out to build amazing stuff, or like learn about AI agents by using our platform Weave to try to play around with it, try to build something that you think is fun yourself, like a mini project. So that's the practical part of it. But I also wanted to recommend some of the things that I really love. For example, basically our friends in like, for example, that's this one called Chain of Thought, COT kind of podcast and stuff started by this guy called Teng Yan. He basically wrote a lot about decentralized AI and really loved like his content and stuff like this. There's also like Veda Research that wrote about a lot about AI stuff. He also building his own personal stuff as well on the AI side of things. So those are really good content for you to catch up like dailies or maybe like weekly for like what's happening around like this decentralized AI space. This space is still a very like young space. Like it's still, people we're still maturing this like decentralized AI, and I would definitely think that we're still very early. So definitely, like you guys mentioned, I think education is one of the key things, and by following more of this project, including Chasm partners as well, I think you are able to learn a lot about what all these different partners has been building and how we have been using it. Also, will give you a overview of like how it actually works and how the whole decentralized space AI space actually work together to achieve something, to achieve a better future. So yeah, that's include Chromia as well. So yeah, Johnson, you have anything to add on your side?
Yeah, I think you cover quite well. Maybe also I think Sandra recently started a podcast about consumer AI products as well. I think it's quite interesting. Sandra from Kaito. Uh, on top of that, I think just get to see all the top AI agents going to take a look what they are building. I think like virtuous terminals is quite interesting to see like how AI thinks. I feel like you have to just get hands on just to see like what interests you, what piques your interest, because I think it's very wide in terms of what you can achieve with AI. I think AI agent is just a start. That the first time we see crypto and Twitter get together, because normally AI space people they are not so keen to look into cryptocurrency, but cryptocurrency space trying to tap into that. I think this is like Gold was the first one that managed to combine both community together. I see so many AI influencers start talking about Gold, and I think this is like the first time I see it out from my timeline building decentralized AI for so long. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting way of combining these two. I think Vitalik actually had a blog post on crypto AI. I think it's a very, very good blog post on what is achievable and what is not, and how can crypto and AI works hand in hand. That is, I think, is one very great article that you should check out. Yeah, I think that's mainly it from my end.
Fantastic. I mean, Vitalik has always delivered great content, so we'll definitely have to check that one out. So before we go to our community questions, just before at the start of this session, you mentioned that there are incentives for community members who are contributing towards Chasm. How can people get involved? How can people get connected with you guys to start their incentives?
Yeah, so the one thing that is coming out is definitely the Scout program. We should basically sort out the nodes and everything within we checked the on-chain data is actually 3 minutes. So it's currently concentrated to a few like very basically very core supporter of our Chasm ecosystem, but not everyone, because of how we designed the whole like Scout system contribution is in a competitive way. So it doesn't really necessarily mean that this one person would want to actually run all these different nodes or scouts by himself. But rather than that, it's more efficient for him to actually let multiple people to join and use his node key to run on like separate instances, right? So they're able to like find like basically optimize all the processes themselves and make it more competitive. So that is some of the things that will be coming up, and yeah, that's like information that we release. Eventually, that's something that we've been working on very hard on. Other than the thing that we've been already working on. But yeah, to know more about details, definitely join on Discord, follow our Twitter, follow our X basically, and definitely shoot us your question in the Discord if you want to know more about it. But I would say having a way for us to delegate the Scout system right now is one way that we open up for the floor, like for the public, for everyone to start contributing to Chasm. But it will still be limited because that's only 3,690 scouts in season 1. But in coming seasons as well, we'll slowly improve it. And the reason increase the capacity of it. And the reason why we're doing this is because like we are taking a very practical approach that we don't want to just like mass on board a lot of people to start contributing, but having like a not fully mature system to handle all these different loads. Rather than that, we are taking an approach that we are going to step by step slowly improving the amount of loads we can take on, the amount of people that will be onboarding into our system, and also ensure the fact that the users been using all the system, the developers and everyone get the best experience possible, because we already have applications, enterprises, and also projects and companies using our tooling, using our system that's powered by this bunch of contributors. So yeah, that is the summary of like what we have and how you can participate with us.
Fantastic. All right, you heard it here. Go to Chasm Network's website, as well as going to Discord and Telegram to get involved. Let's shoot to, we have a couple questions from the community. We have one from Discord, Nisanai11. I hope I've said that correctly. How does fusion of blockchain and AI transparency through Chasm and Chromia redefine trust in machine-generated decisions, especially in critical sectors like finance and healthcare? So how does the fusion of blockchain and AI transparency through Chasm and Chromia redefine trust in machine-generated decisions?
I think I can take this. So what I believe is that what blockchain, the first time that it gave us an opportunity to see transparency in terms of like we really changed the way we trust, because in the past we had to trust that the centralized party won't act rogue just with our data and all those things. So I would say blockchain doesn't remove trust, it changed the way we trust, we verify. So I feel like with that we can easily implement it into that as well. Although I would say like in the privacy focusing blockchain is still going to be a while for us to reach into healthcare. But we do see that some effort already been used. Like recently you see Apple, they are using, they don't call it blockchain, but they don't call it FSE. Basically, they are able to verify your, like for example, you want to search a photo and things like that. You can use it through their kind of like blockchain technology to search through the categorized data without showing your data. This is like some improvement on top. Although it's very, very costly right now, but I believe that once like all the GPU costs going down, I think it'll help for us. So I would say it changes the way we trust for blockchains, because we no longer trust, we verify. Everything can be mathematically proved. Yeah, I think there's some, to a certain extent, that we actually have more control of our data. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so we've got another question as well, also from Discord, from Zulf. Ooh, I can't even say that. Zulfikar, I think. Anyway, what are the main barriers that AI technology face when attempting to cross the chasm from early adopters to the early majority? And how can these challenges be addressed? So what are the main barriers that AI technology face when attempting to cross the chasm from early adopters to the early majority? And how can these challenges be addressed?
Yeah, I think it's more like a generic question.
Yeah, sorry, Johnson, go ahead.
Oh yeah, sure. I think it's a more generic questions. If I feel like how can we cross the chasm in terms of like from early adopters to early majority? I assume that it's like a phase. I'm just trying to get context right. Yeah, I feel like everyone is using AI, slowly using AI, but I think the adoptions is not as crazy as what I expected. Probably I'm inside a bubble because I'm surrounded by all the AI content on my Twitter feed. I every day reads about new research paper. But when I go to a real life, like back to like in real life, I think a lot of people still haven't adapted that. I probably understand because you have so many things you have to do in life. So adoption is gonna take a while. Like you can see, internet actually took a while. It started in 1993 or something, and then until the way that we have all this bandwidth coming in, like more data that we can download and upload, that's where we expand to have all these Web2 kind of products like YouTubes and all those things that you can stream videos and all those things. These are all the things that only happened in the last 15 years. But the internet has been around for a long while, just that we haven't reached that technology capability. So I believe AI is the same thing, because right now LM still have like some issues in terms of like the context size, and I believe maybe LM is not the final result of what we are building. Probably there's a newer technology that can solve a problem about LM, but I think we are at a place where like I think everything happening just too fast. Like yeah, I believe that it just need matter of time to let people adopt, because you realize that using AI is much more efficient and get things done much faster. And for you to like having a brainstorm about something, it takes like maybe a day. They can use AI to quickly generate it and things like that. So that's what I believe. Like if you believe in like pushing more towards efficiency, definitely AI can be much more performant than human. Yeah.
I think I want to add on this.
Yeah, when
First
it
of all, I wanted to.
absolutely.
Sorry. Yeah, I think first of all, I want to say
No,
like
no,
it's
go
quite
ahead.
creative that you use crossing the chasm, because that's exactly where we come up with our company name. We definitely want, when we first built this company, we definitely want to help AI as a technology to cross the chasm, to have more people using it. And as mentioned before, like earlier in this like AMA as well, we talked about like application. And personally, like for me as well, I think also like overall team as well, we believe the fact that we are also having lacking in applications, right? There's a lot of people training LLMs, there's a lot of people building infrastructure, but there's no much people really building consumer-facing applications that day-to-day consumer can be using. And most of the people has been looking and understanding LLMs or AI just like, oh, a chatbot, something like ChatGPT and stuff like this. But to be honest, the approach to AI applications can be various kind of like different way of presenting it. And I don't think we have touched the space of like really being creative on how we want to present AI. So that's something that Chasm really want to tackle, and believe that once we have enough applications, maybe 90% or 98% or even 99% of this innovative ideas might not be able to make it, but that 1% of like the idea that we have basically basically come in concentrated and eventually got the effect of like mass people like users coming into using it because it's really good to use based on the experience. Those are the things that will push us to cross the chasm. So that's what we believe in. That's what I believe in as well. And yeah, I think overall just wanted to see more innovative approach to like building AI application. I think one of them is definitely what we talked about earlier, right? People building all this different meme coin with like AI KOLs behind it. That is one way, because like that in itself attract a lot of people to interact and talk with that. And when you find out it's AI, you think it's interesting and you want to learn more about it. But we definitely love to see more of this approach. And I think being the web, maybe AI and Web3 space together is actually kind of like a very mutual beneficial industry that industries that basically will help each other to grow further and beyond from what we are right now.
You made such a good point. There are, I mean, it's going viral right now where an AI system scanned the whole internet about what would do well. And then particular meme coins are going absolutely crazy just because of this AI has predicted that it would do well. Like, this is just the cusp of it within the blockchain industry, and those who are in the industry working or trading, etc. But when it comes to the majority or the rest of the world who, I mean, even the people who I speak to about my job being in blockchain, and they're kind of like, oh, I don't know. But then if you talk about AI, they're like, okay, I kind of understand, because it's been a term that people have been using for quite some time. So they're a bit more open-minded because people are talking about it. So I think the barriers that we're going to be facing are trusting it, accountability, and transparency, which is exactly what Chasm is combating. So I love the fact that you guys are promoting these areas that are basically just winning over the community. And when it comes to other maybe government systems or even education, I'm hoping that AI is going to be embedded into even exams. Like it's if you think about even some years ago when calculators weren't allowed to be used in exams for children because you needed to do it in your head. Who uses a calculator now that, or who would do mental math for large sums or anything like that, when it's just easier to use a calculator. And that is where AI comes in. It is just easier to use AI. It's a lot easier to ask AI, like, plan my trip to Barcelona. I want to go and see my friend Guillermo, or things like this, like, instead of just going through lots of different blog articles myself. It's fascinating.
No, and especially when in some
Okay.
especially no, I just wanted to say that, and also mentioning to what you said before, Claire, about the healthcare, and one of the things that, thanks to AI, you're removing from the equation is the human error, which is one of the biggest in all the different areas. I mean, we intrinsically tend to trust some figures of authority, especially when when it is related to education, politics, or healthcare. We tend to trust doctors, but doctors are people, and people make errors, and it is proven that a machine giving you a diagnostic is going to probably make less errors than a doctor that is probably tired, and it is probably not feeling that particularly productive that day, and he really needs to scan his brain looking for exactly the diagnosis, when an AI machine can do that so easily. And I feel that thanks to these tools, and how are we tweaking AI to make it more transparent, to make it more trustworthy, and make it not relying in centralized service, is going to contribute to more and more to trust in it, and get the full benefit of it in our normal lives.
Yeah, once people figure out that it makes their lives easier, they tend to like it. Once they go over that barrier of trusting it, and knowing that it's a lot easier to trust something that makes their life easier than the overcoming of learning it. Yeah, it's fascinating. But anyway, we're about to wrap up here. But for everyone who has joined the content creative program, I do want to touch on this just real quickly, because you've got a day left. We are absolutely loving all of the content coming in. And for those who are still wanting to submit, your deadline is tomorrow. So please go ahead and submit your content. I'd like to invite all of the content creators to explore our content creator program to get involved with Chromia on a deeper level. There are some fantastic opportunities in Web3, and we are offering a very generous prize pool, from $800, $500, here, there, and everywhere. Even the first place for video content is $1,900. So if you want to make a video, if you want to show your skills and want to get rewarded for it, join our content creator program. There is still time. But as I mentioned, your deadline to create and publish your content is tomorrow, October 30th, at exactly 12 p.m. UTC. That is the exact same time zone where I am right now in London, England. And speaking of prizes, it is that time to show how you can get involved with becoming one of the lucky winners. We have 5 opportunities to walk away with $100 in USDT. So the way that you can do this is by answering this following question: how do you see AI improving your own life, either currently or in the future? If you include Chasm in that, I think you might get extra points. So let me know, how do you see AI improving your own life, either currently or in the future? Share your comments on Twitter on this exact post, this broadcasting post. And before we go, I want to say a huge thank you to Chasm, Casey, and Johnson. Thank you so much. Do you have any final messages that you want to share with our audience? We've got about, I think, 900 people listening in on Twitter alone. So would you like to share anything with them?
Yeah, I think let me share something. I think everyone should try to use AI in one way or the other. The other thing is that I think definitely, if you have not been starting to build anything before, if you have not like worked on any project before, I think this is the golden timing for you to work on something. If you own, like, previously, to build an applications, to build something interesting, you might need to have the knowledge of, like, programming and stuff like this. But with AI and stuff, it enables a lot of like opportunities to you as well, right? You're able to like generate codes and maybe improving that, or even just by learning programming yourself with AI as a assistant, you're able to learn way faster compared to what you have been able to do back then by just doing it by your own. Similarly, this also applied to like different industries as well, because AI is kind of like vast knowledge pool that you can just tap into it. So definitely want to see more innovation of people trying to do more amazing things because of AI, and also learn more about transparency, blockchain, and stuff like that. Transparency, basically databases like Chromia as well. I truly believe that transparency is the way to go forward. So those are the amazing the thing that you need to learn before like maybe we approach the next era as well. So yeah, other than that, thanks Chromia for having us. This is a really good AMA. Really appreciate the invitation, and yeah, that's what I want to share.
Thank you guys for attending. It's been great.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Johnson. Thank you, KC. And also thank you, Guillermo. Thank you guys for joining in today. Everyone, don't forget to share this AMA with your friends and followers for the latest updates on Chromia's journey. And if you're ready to start building with us, be sure to check out Chromia's journey on blogs and also on the website. And also head to our socials. We'd love to be able to get connected with you. And we're always open to hearing more ideas, especially within AI. So my name's Claire, and we'll see you next week. And I can't wait to be able to discuss so many incredible topics coming up. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.